you might be surprised to learn just how many students are dealing with different learning disabilities. And my next guest is here to talk about that and about an innovative new program that is helping out. Dr. Jennifer Fain is the Director of Education with the Learning Disabilities Society and joins us now on the line. Thank you so much for being with us.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for having me.
How many people or do we know how many students are dealing with various types of learning disabilities?
Yes, 1 in 10 students has a learning difference, and even more have suspected learning differences that might never actually be formally diagnosed. So we're actually looking at quite a large percentage of the population.
And I would imagine there's quite a large range in the learning disabilities.
There really is, and unfortunately so many of our students, children and youth, just fall between the cracks and really don't receive the correct assessment and support that they really need.
And when we look at the success rates, then, if somebody is going, whether it's not diagnosed or it's not treated in a proper way, what are we looking at then as far as dropout rates and what happens to students when they're dealing with this?
Yeah, unfortunately, the flow-on effects from unsupported learning differences are just really stand in the way of individuals being able to move into successful workforce participation, going on into higher education or opportunities. And it's not just the foundational skills gaps or the learning problems that really hold students back. It's really the self-confidence and the self-esteem that children really struggle to develop when learning just seems impossible or insurmountable for them. That really creates this devastating.
And I would imagine as well the pandemic would not have helped in any of these cases, and in fact would have likely made things much more difficult.
Yeah, unfortunately, the disruptions to school schedules and disruptions to resource support with minimal.
Oh, Dr. Fain, we're having trouble hearing you there. Your phone was cutting out there. Nope, that's okay. There, I can hear you now.
I'm so sorry. Thank you. Unfortunately, the disruptions to resource support when school staffing levels have been such a challenge has really meant that students have not been getting the one-to-one explicit instruction that they need to catch up in the skill gaps, meaning that they fall further and further behind their peers every year.
So talk a bit, if you can, about this new program. This is a new mobile classroom on wheels. What does this do?
Yeah, so one of the biggest barriers for children with learning differences is being able to access the one-to-one support that they really need. So at LDS, we're really focused on removing all barriers for children and youth with learning differences. So not only are we currently working with students at our learning centers and our partner schools, but now we're able to actually take our mobile classroom to communities wherever there is need to remove geographical barriers, as well as remove financial barriers through the highly subsidized low cost of our programs.
And so what would an example be then, somebody that has a learning disability, and how would they be able to access this mobile classroom?
So students who are working within our Live Twin program, which is research-informed, evidence-based, individualized instruction, catch up on average half a grade per year. So working in our mobile classroom, we can have 3 of our qualified compassionate instructors working one-to-one with students with learning disabilities on foundational skills in reading, writing, math, and executive functioning. So that way these students can catch up and rejoin their peers at grade level and self-esteem confidence along the way.
And how did this all come about then, this idea, and to get it to the place where now it's actually happening, that this mobile classroom is a thing?
That's such a great question. We've been working with community partners for years, just trying to figure out how do we really remove these barriers for communities? How do we get out there and meet the needs of children and families? And so often we hear that parents with their work schedules really struggle to get their children to what they need. So thinking outside the box of how do we actually get to children and families, we're like, let's just go to them. Let's just show up in their, and let's find ways that
All right, Doctor, I'm so sorry. We're just having trouble trouble hearing you. I'm going to try to reconnect with you if we can. We're speaking with Dr. Jennifer Fain, and we're going to try and reconnect and get a better phone line because I wanted to talk more about this. It's a classroom on wheels, and it's literally rolling out for kids who are in need, and talking about the Learning Disabilities Society, and they're launching this mobile classroom service, and it's providing access to children that are in need in different parts of Metro Vancouver. And as you heard there, 1 in 10 children in the province deals with a learning disability. And if it's not addressed, if there are not measures taken to try and help the child succeed, it can lead to pretty devastating consequences. And it can lead to things like higher dropout rates and children really not succeeding if they were given the opportunity, it could make a huge difference. All right, let's try and see if we've got a better phone line. Dr. Fain, can you hear me okay?
I can. Hopefully you can hear me.
Much better. Yes, much more clear. Let me just re-ask you that. I'm just curious, how did this go from being an idea to now there's this mobile classroom? It's a clean energy electric bus, the first of its kind in BC.
Yeah, we were just working with all our community partners, really in partnership with the schools and communities and families we work with, to try to figure out how we could really get to the children in need who need our support in ways that are highly accessible. So part of just the geographical barriers that families are facing, as well as the cost barriers, is what really inspired us to create this mobile classroom where we can come right to children and families and communities and deliver these programs at exceptionally low cost to families.
And how do families access it then?
So families, communities, schools, or anyone who's interested in engaging with our mobile classroom can contact us at ldsociety.ca. And we can work with you to figure out where we need to be and who needs our help and connecting with families and children who need us.
All right. Well, it looks like it's a great program, and hopefully it will help a lot of people, and people will be able to access the mobile classroom. We'll leave it there for today. Dr. Jennifer Fain, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate you coming on the program.
Thank you so much.
All right. Dr. Jennifer Fain is the Director of Education with the Learning Disabilities Society. And again, you can check out their website, Learning Disabilities Society. That's ldsociety.ca. If you go to their website, you can find out